Adrian, and today is Top 5 Wednesday. I'm on a roll with my videos, by the way. I think I've filmed like 6 already, and it's all been in the shirt. So you're going to be seeing the shirt for the next months on end. Grow to like it, cause too bad. Today's Top 5 Wednesday video is 5 books that deal with mental health. I have not, sadly, read enough of these books, but I do have 5 to share with you. Some of them are not necessarily mental health books. I sort of snuck them in there anyway, but you'll see why, because they do have to do with mental health issues. Anyway, let's jump right in. First up, if you've been around here for any length of time, you'll know that this one is coming, and that's Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. This book is hysterical. First of all, I can't get enough of that raccoon. I love him. How can you not look at this book cover and just smile? He makes me want to smile. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is Jenny Lawson's memoir about her struggles with mental health, anxiety, depression, but it's done in a very interesting and funny way. This book was a joy to read. In this memoir, she deals with her day-to-day experiences with her struggle with anxiety and depression and a couple of other mental health issues that she has, and she does it in a way that really lets you be able to sort of get into the life of someone who has a mental health problem, and she does it in a funny and interesting way. I really enjoyed this book, and I recommend it if you do have anxiety issues to whatever degree, because you will be able to find yourself, recognize yourself in this book at one point or another. I know I did. And also, if you don't struggle with anxiety or depression or any mental health issues, it really gives you a perspective on what it actually is like. Some of these things are very extreme, and some of them will not be relatable, but it is, generally speaking, a great read, and it is funny. It is like pee your pants funny. Next up is another one of my favorites, and that is A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Backman. This one deals with, obviously, a man called Uwe, and in the first part of the book we are introduced to the fact that Uwe is very unhappy. He's lost a lot and he plans on committing suicide, but he's met by one of his neighbors whose name I cannot think of for the life of me at the moment, and she sort of has an idea that this is going to happen, and she keeps taking him into part of her life to sort of help him and to make him feel like he's loved and he's wanted and he's part of people's lives. This one I really liked because it gives you a look into what it's like to, number one, go through grief and loss. And it also made me really think, like, sometimes we can meet some really cranky and miserable people in life and you just want to smack them. But there's always a reason. Uwe, he was ready to kill himself, and you never really know what's going on in your neighbor's house. So we really need to be careful about how we treat people, and just to smile and say thank you and to say good morning as we're passing each other along the street. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but this was a great book that deals with depression, especially when it comes to loss and grief. Another really good one that I read was The First Time She Drowned by Carrie Clutter. I read this one 2 years ago as part of the traveling book that Julie from Pages and Pens hosted. I think I was the only one who read this book that actually liked it, because this book gets really dark. It's really heavy and a lot of stuff goes down. This one follows a girl named Cassie, and Cassie was admitted to a mental hospital to deal with her depression and anxiety, or what her family describes as depression and anxiety, and Cassie is reintegrating into the world. She's starting school. She's going through all the things that have happened, why she's in there, and she insists that she doesn't belong there. So this whole story you're trying to find out, does Cassie belong there? Doesn't she belong there? What happened? What triggered her anxiety or her problems that she has? As we're moving along through this book, we sort of realize that Cassie's mother has a mental health issue that's really evident really quick in the book, especially if you know someone who has a mental health issue, you can recognize it quite quickly. And Cassie sort of has to reconcile with that. What is my mom's fault? What is not her fault because of her mental health issue? How can I go about dealing with the things that I have had to deal with? This book is has a lot of triggers in it for abuse, emotional, physical, sexual. Her mom is really a tough person to read, which is why a lot of people who read this book didn't like it from the book club that I did, because it was just such a heavy book. But it's real, it happens, and like I said, I really enjoyed the perspective of seeing what a parent with mental health does to a kid. The last 2 don't deal with mental health specifically, but they definitely have elements of mental health in them, and you'll see why. Another one of my favorites is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. This one follows a mom named Ava, and she's writing letters to her husband about their son Kevin, and it talks about how this mother never really wanted to have kids, and she didn't have a good relationship with Kevin. We find out from the beginning of the book that Kevin was the shooter in a school shooting, and how his mother may or may not have influenced his life, how his mental health may or may not have had a part in this. And this mother really has to deal with the grief. Again, a big grief is a big thing in this book, of having to deal with her son who has done this awful thing. While this book wasn't necessarily a mental health book, it definitely deals with a lot of psychological issues. So I would recommend this one. It was a little slow going at some points, but in the end had such a twist that left me floored. If you love twists and turns, you gotta get this book. And the last one is one that I just finished the other day, and that's All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. Again, for those of you who have actually read this book, you might be saying, Adrienne, this isn't a mental health book. It's not, and it is. This book follows Quinn and Graham. Quinn and Graham actually met each other because Quinn's boyfriend and Graham's girlfriend were cheating on each other, and they both found each other in front of Quinn's boyfriend's apartment. 7 years later, they're married, and their marriage is falling apart because they are unable to have children. This book sort of goes back and forth between what happened 7 years ago and what's happening now. And the reason that I have decided to pick this one is mostly because I have gone through a similar thing with infertility issues. I wasn't actually able to have children for a long while, and so I know the grief that Quinn is going through and how that really can affect your marriage. Quinn in this book is depressed. She doesn't know how to talk to her husband. She doesn't know how to make herself feel happy. She doesn't know how to appreciate life for what she has. She's sinking into depression, and it is ruining her marriage. I loved this book. I love Colleen Hoover books in general. It was slightly predictable, but still a really good book. And like I said, it does deal with depression and grief. I feel like, apparently, I didn't realize this, but most all my books have to do with grief. But anyway, a really great book. I love Colleen Hoover books. They're sort of hit or miss for people, but I genuinely enjoy them, and I would recommend this one as well. That wraps it up for this Top 5 Wednesday video. If you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you have not yet, I'd love for you to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.